We are talking about what are the marks of a genuine church. Talking about a genuine church. And I think it is very, very important because the world needs to see a genuine church. We've already started our discussion on the marks of a genuine church, and we talked about you have to persevere in following the Lord. But in order to persevere, you have to keep on believing. And to keep on believing, you need to keep on praying. I think you need to discuss that and see how can this work in your life. If you want to persevere in following the Lord, you need to keep on believing. And if you want to keep on believing, you need to keep on praying, because everything doesn't come very easily when you follow the Lord. But tonight, we are going to continue our discussion on the true marks, the marks of a genuine church. And we read Matthew chapter 18. And I give you the verses in the questionnaire, and you can discuss the verses, read the verses, and discuss it. So, the disciples are discussing who are the most important in the kingdom of heaven. And when you think about the most important people in the world, you think of people who are very successful, achieved much. But Jesus called a toddler, and he picked the toddler up and said, if you do not become like a toddler, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean? Discuss the marks, the characteristics of a toddler. Talk about each other. Can you describe a toddler? What does that mean concerning our relationship towards God, who is our Father? What does that mean? How must we relate to God our Father? And then Jesus continues his discussion and says, and you must be careful how you react to one another. Your relationship with one another, because whatever you do to the smallest of my children, you do it to me. So it's not only our relationship with him, but our relationship with one another. So when Jesus talks about toddlers, what does that mean for our relationship with each other? How must we look at each other? Discuss that. And then the third point is, he says, if you do any harm to one of these little ones, it is better for you to go and drown yourself. A horrible death. So, how must I react to fellow believers? And the angels are watching. You can read it in Matthew 18. The angels are watching what we are doing to each other. What does that say for our marriage relationship? What does that say for our relationship with our children? In the light of Matthew 18 and Jesus talking about a toddler, what does that tell us about how I must respond to my spouse or how I must treat my children? Because this is where it all starts. This is where family starts. And this is very, very important because Jesus is on the brink of going back to heaven. And he is sharing with his disciples, when I'm gone, you need to start fellowships, you need to start churches, you need to plant churches, you need to start Christian families, spiritual families, and this is how that family must operate. So in Matthew 16, you have the word church for the first time in the Bible, and in Matthew 18, the word congregation or assembly. So this is the basics. Before he's talking about go to win the whole world and evangelize the whole world in Matthew 28, before he goes into that, he starts with the foundation. First of all, the very first thing is treat each other like you should treat a toddler. That's the beginning. So he's talking about we must be something before we want to do something for God. Discuss that. What we are inside will affect our message on the outside. And people will look at us before they listen to us. And what they see will impact whether they are going to listen or not. Please discuss that. And if you have any questions, you mail it to me, and then I will mail the answers. May you keep on growing.